6:33 p.m. We're back on record.
Mr. Olson contends his decision to borrow money from Andy Garza on behalf of the association was necessary to pay employees. My question is, do you claim that decision was made with less than ordinary care?
Objection form.
I think that was asked and answered before we broke.
I don't think it was. If it was answered, if you could just repeat your answer. I'm not so much looking for an explanation of what actually happened. I'm asking you if you view his decision to borrow money as a decision that was careless.
Yes,
Why?
because you don't borrow money from a person to pay employees.
So it's your contention that the employees would have been paid anyway.
Yes.
Were you agree of the, what was the disagreement that existed among board members at the time?
Okay. What date was this?
Do you know why Mr. Olson was not able to pay them from the Wells Fargo checking account of Sterling Green?
If I remember right, I think he had been taken off the account.
Were you aware that money was moved out of the Sterling Green account, Wells Fargo checking account, thus making it impossible to make payments from that account?
Yes, the money was moved.
Mr. Olson authorized the payment of $2,000 to Patrick Keys, a web designer, in order to bring the website of Sterling Green into compliance with statutory requirements. Sterling Green now wants to recover that money from Mr. Olson. Do you disagree with Mr. Olson's decision to pay Mr. Keys to bring the website of Sterling Green into compliance with statutory requirements?
Okay.
Objection form.
I don't have any knowledge of that
Okay.
being done.
Do you know what the statutory requirements are for the website of a homeowners association?
No,
Did you know there were any such requirements?
no.
Will you ever serve on the board of a homeowners association again?
Probably not.
Why?
At this stage in my life, I'm just all about having peace.
Okay. Tom Olson authorized the payment of $960 to pay Sarah Bass, a professional homeowners association manager, to head up a committee to reform the deed restrictions with the goal of establishing and filing deed restrictions that complied with applicable laws and the bylaws. Do you dispute his decision to do that?
Objection form.
Yes.
Why?
It was not approved by any other board member.
Any other basis for disputing that decision?
No.
Do you think Sterling Green should have gone, strike that? Do you know if Gloria Cox agreed with his decision to do that?
No, I didn't.
Do you know why Sarah Bass was hired?
No, because there was no discussion.
That was not my question. Do you know why she was hired?
No.
Who is Sharon Provost?
She's an employee of the association.
What does she do?
She works in the office.
Was she hired while you were on the board?
I'm not sure of the date she was hired. But I think so.
Do you remember reviewing or receiving information regarding her qualifications while you were on the board?
No, that was all. All of the hiring was done through a personnel agency.
So because a personnel agency was involved, the board members did not need to make any attempt whatsoever to determine if a person was qualified to serve as manager?
Objection form.
She was not manager.
What was she hired to do?
As far as I know, she just worked in the office.
Okay, and did the board make any attempt itself to determine whether she was qualified to work in the office, or did it just leave that to the personnel agency?
Objection form.
That was at the personnel agency.
There is a audit that's mentioned in the documents relating to the July 20, 2018 meeting of you and Dorothy MALVEAUX. Who performed the audit?
If an audit was performed, it was performed by a person that does excuse me, that does audits.
Do you know whether it was done at all?
No, I'm not sure.
With regard to Olson's filing of a lawsuit against certain parties on behalf of the association, do you believe the illegal actions that took place at the July 20, 2018 board meeting made it necessary?
Objection form.
I'm not sure of your question.
Well, there was a meeting involving two members of the board on July 20, 2018 that took a variety of actions that they did not have authority to do because there was not a quorum. Olson authorized the filing of a lawsuit in response. My question to you is, do you believe that his filing of that lawsuit in response to those illegal acts was unjustified?
Objection form.
I don't think the acts were illegal.
Because two is a quorum.
Yes.
How, did Olson ever attempt to intimidate you?
Yes, I think he tried.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes, because he's a tall person, and he likes to come and stand over you and stand close to you, and it's like intimidating to have someone to come up to you and do that.
Did he put his hands on you?
Oh no.
Did he threaten you?
Yes, he did.
What were the words he used?
It was in an email. He threatened me with, I guess, basically jail, and then he threatened me that he was going to call the FBI.
And what was the date of this email?
God, I don't know the date of that
What month?
email. I don't know the month either.
What year?
I'm not for sure, but it was after he got on the board.
Other than being tall and speaking to you at close range, did he do anything else to intimidate you?
Yes, he has a way of talking to you, and it's not in a very kind way.
Did he berate you?
He did. At one homeowners meeting, he told the association that I bailed at the last minute on a homeowners meeting when I notified him 2 hours before the homeowners meeting that I would not be there.
So bailing out is an inaccurate way to describe refusing to attend.
No, I did not refuse to attend. I had a family emergency.
Do you know if Ms. Provost has a criminal record?
No, I don't.
Were you aware that a Melissa Davis stole over $100,000 while working for Sterling Green?
Yes, I know that was a theft.
And she worked directly under the supervision of Ms. MALVEAUX.
Yes.
Did the board ever ask Ms. MALVEAUX how it was that she allowed, or that Melissa Davis was able to get away with stealing money, that amount of money, while working under her supervision?
I don't know if that exact question was asked.
Did the board ask her any questions about it?
I'm not sure. I know she that she did inform us, because when she found out what was going on, and then she informed us about the steps that she was taking.
Were the members informed of the theft?
At the board meeting, and I don't remember what day, the people that attended that meeting were told what happened.
Do you know anything about the changing of locks?
The only thing that I know about the changing of locks at the homeowners association,
Yes,
at the offices,
yes.
just when Tom would say something that he had the locks changed.
Do you question that decision?
Yes.
We've already established during the 10 years prior to, actually about 4 years prior to him serving on the board, an employee managed to steal over $100,000. Mr. Olson contends he changed the locks because he did not know who had the keys to the locks that were in place at the time. Do you know, as you sit here today, who had keys to the locks, to the doors to the offices of Sterling Green in March 2018?
In March of 2018, no, I'm not aware.
Would anyone else know all the persons who had keys to the locks?
In March of 2018.
Yes.
Okay, I don't even know if the locks had keys, because Tom had the locks changed several times, and one was a keypad. So I have no idea what type of locks.
I guess
there.
if there weren't locks, that would explain the thefts. But I guess my question is, do you think it's important for a facility like Sterling Green that handles a lot of money to be secure?
Checks the form.
The doors had locks on. There were locks in place.
Yes, that's my question. Do you know, and those locks involved keys, correct?
Well, it would depend on what period of time.
In 2017 and 18, were the exterior doors to the offices of Sterling Green, did you need keys to open those doors?
I'm not absolutely sure.
Did you ever have yourself keys to the doors of the building?
No, I think Tom gave me one key, but I didn't ever use that key.
Prior to Olson serving on the board, did you ever have a key to the building?
No.
Did Dorothy MALVEAUX have a key?
Yes.
So I guess if you wanted to get into the building to review records, you would have to contact Miss MALVEAUX.
Checks the form.
Yes.
But then again, you'd never actually ask to review any records, did you?
No.
Did you see that as part of your job as a member of the board of directors?
Checks the form.
Yes.
So you saw it as part of your job as a member of the board of directors, but yet you never reviewed any records.
Objection.
No, it's not that I didn't ever review any records. I never went to the office after hours to look at anything.
So the only records you would have reviewed were the records that Ms. MALVEAUX saw fit for you to review.
Objection form.
No, they were the documents that were printed off the software.
By whom?
They were done by the office people. I don't know, since I didn't work in the office.
Who made the decision as to what records you would review?
I have no idea. That was done before I got on the board.
While you were on the board, did you review records?
Yes.
Who made the decision as to what records you would review while you were a board member?
I don't remember us making any specific, to ask for any specific documents.
During the entire time you were on the board of directors, you never asked the board never asked Ms. MALVEAUX for any specific documents?
Objection form.
We were given, I can't remember the name of all of the documents for us to look at or to review, but there was bank statements, and I guess you would call it, it was, what is it, accounts payables, receivables.
Was an audit done after the Melissa Davis theft?
I don't remember the year of the theft.
2014?
Okay, I'm not for sure if an audit was done or not.
Do you think an audit after a theft of over $100,000 would have been a good idea?
I guess.
Do you regret at this point serving on the board of directors of Sterling Green?
No, I don't.
Do you think Sterling Green was well run while you were on the board of directors?
Yes, I did.
Can you name an attorney who, if that attorney told you that a quorum for board meetings required the presence of 3 directors and not 2, that you would believe that attorney?
Objection form.
It doesn't even have to be an attorney who worked for the association or an attorney in Houston or Texas. Any attorney at all.
Objection form.
I can't answer that.
Because?
Because it depends on the situation of your board at that time.
So regardless of what any attorney would tell you, if the board did not have a full complement of 5 directors, you would continue to believe that the quorum must be determined by the number of directors actually present at a meeting and not the number of directors set by the bylaws.
Objection form.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you consider Dorothy MALVEAUX a trustworthy person?
Yes.
What about the use of proxies in his election of the board do you feel was defective?
Objection form.
The use of the proxies in
You mentioned the
which way?
proxies before as a reason that you believe his election of the board was defective.
Oh, I said because he actually brought them in to the homeowners meeting.
Can you cite any statute that prohibits a candidate in a board of directors meeting for homeowners association from handling proxies as Olson did and as Gloria Cox did?
Objection form.
Okay, I didn't see Gloria bring in any in, but I remember correctly, I think there is a Texas code. It's 209 something, I think.
What,
And it says that the person on the ballot is not supposed to physically bring ballots in.
does that refer to the handling of ballots after they have all been submitted, or does that refer to, or do you know? Have you read the statute?
Some time back.
And does it refer to the handling, does it address the handling of ballots after they have been submitted?
The handling? No, this, if I'm understanding you correctly, this is the actual ballots before they've been counted, that a person on the ballot is not supposed to actually bring the ballots in to be counted.
And I guess I have to ask the same question I ask about the quorum issue. Is there an attorney, any attorney at all in the United States of America who, if that attorney told you you were wrong in your interpretation of that statute, that you would believe that attorney, or would you continue to believe that your interpretation of the statute was correct?
Objection 4.
I think that question has been asked and answered
Well,
several
it really hasn't,
times.
because we haven't been talking about this statute. You just brought up the statute a few minutes ago.
That statute that I was referring to was about someone on the ballot bringing in ballots.
I understand. My question remains, is there an attorney who, if that attorney told you your interpretation of that statute was wrong, and that the handling of proxies by Mr. Olson was valid and proper and complied with the law, where you would believe that attorney?
Objection 4.
As stated before, no, it depends, like I said, on the situation of the board.
So again, you would follow your own interpretation of the law and not the attorney's interpretation of it.
Objection 4.
I didn't say that.
Would you agree with me that because Susan Rice supervised the election and concluded that Mr. Olson had been properly elected to the board, that do you think she's aware of that statute?
Yes, because I asked her about that.
And what did she say?
She told me that that pertains to, was it Kingwood or the Woodlands?
Is it safe to say that Ms. Rice disagreed with your interpretation of that statute?
Objection 4.
I did not interpret it. I showed her a copy of the actual statute, and I was asking her, did that statute pertain to Tom bringing in, having access to the ballots?
So my question is it accurate to say that despite you showing her that statute, that Ms. Rice nevertheless concluded he had been properly elected to the board?
Objection 4.
Did Ms. Rice conclude Tom had been properly elected to the board?
Yes, that was her assessment, yes.
And she was aware of that statute? Because you made her aware of it.
Objection 4.
I'll rephrase the question.
Is that it? Okay, we're out.
Time is 6:57 PM, we're off record.